Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's Talking Comics. We're going to talk some comics. These are comics for the week of July 16th, 2025. In no particular order, let's talk some books. First up, we have Krypto, Last Dog of Krypton, issue number 2. Not nearly as charming as issue number 1 was, largely because this issue is Lex Luthor, young Lex Luthor, treating Krypto terribly. So yeah, I guess the cool thing about this is it's early days of Lex Luthor, and even early on in this iteration, he's a pretty cruel person who is out for himself, regardless of consequences. If it is bettering him, damn anybody else who gets in his way. Even people who are doing everything they can to help him. Sacrifice them is fine as long as it's going to elevate him. So not so much fun. I mean, literally the first page, it warns you. this issue is people treating an animal poorly. And that's largely what it is. I look forward to the next issue. It has been enjoyable, but this one not so much, just surely based on the fact that it was an entire issue of Lex being the alpha of the pack and smacking around Krypto. So not so cool as far as that goes. I believe the last issue of Zatanna, issue number 6. The end there, question marked and backwards. And at the end of it, it's like, oh, the story isn't over, kind of thing. I think you just do that, right? In hopes that you're going to be able to do something else. This is fun. It was all right. I don't know that I was super invested. I really like the character. I like a lot of the secondary characters in it. I mean, this issue, it's got like briefly has a version of Justice League Dark in it. It's they pull in Ragman and Dr. Fate and Wonder Woman and a few other people. They're barely there though, so mentioning him is probably not a reason to rush out and get this. Like you're going to get a deep dive into those characters of that book. I wish that book was still around. But no, I mean, this is enjoyable. We kind of solve our problem and leave a problem in place for potentially future stories, I guess. But it was a fine run of books, but it wasn't like the last Zatanna book that we got with Javier Rodriguez, where it was wild. This one was much more conventional. New Gods, issue number 8. 4 more issues of this. Where are we going to go? We're starting to see more of the machinations of Lord, and there's clearly some other stuff going on that are all going to come to a header. Darkseid is right. We'll see how that happens, or if that happens. The stuff of Allfather is interesting. I'm curious to see where that plays. The end of this issue was very sweet. I still want to see that book with Wonder Woman and the Freeze playing with their kids together. That book's just screaming to be made every time I see this. See what goes on in this book. So I'm there's some aspects that have happened in the past. I'm waiting for them to recrop up. I don't want to say a ton about that, but I'm curious to see if that is going to come back, or that was just a thing to get us to where we're at now. Not 100% sure. But yeah, it's been a really cool book. Cagel's art is just really, really cool. Really enjoy it in this book. So far up to issue 8, there have been some issues that have been really, really special, and some that are feel more like they're about getting us to our next point. To some degree, that's how this one feels. Other than, like I said, it exposes our another one of our main bad guys in the potential plot that is happening, and so that's really intriguing. Always look forward to this book when it comes out. It's been really super cool. Batman and Robin, year one, issue number 9. The Chris Samney driven book. Lots of awesome art as always in this book. Some really good emotional beats in this issue, and kind of what's been billed for the last 8 issues gets turned on its head in this issue. I find that really curious to see what happens now. I guess the bad guy plot is going to move forward, just different actors doing that. So we'll see what that looks like. I'm definitely curious about that. Have definitely been enjoying this. It has been about the Samney art. I think they've done a good job of tapping into this kind of era of new Robin and seeing it much more from a parental point of view. The care and the concern is quite enjoyable from not just Pennyworth, but from Bruce to about how do we deal with Dick Grayson and stuff, and that's been I love that aspect of it too. It's been really good. But yeah, like I said, you like Chris Samney art, you have been missing if you have not been getting this book. Wonder Woman, issue number 23. I love this issue. I would bet that there's going to be people who are really not happy with this issue. Probably 75% of the dialogue in this book is about 4 words, just repeated over and over and over again. And with different inflections. The art by Sampri is awesome. It delivers the emotion behind just repeatedly saying the same words over and over and over again. I thoroughly enjoyed this issue. I thoroughly enjoy Tom King's version of Wonder Woman. He's recaptured the grace of Wonder Woman, and what she represents and how she carries herself. She's just she fits in with everybody, but she's always seems to be elevated above everything else. And it's not just the general person that's fawning over how amazing that she is, but it's also just she's not one of everybody else. So she does carry herself differently. She doesn't use the exact vernacular that everyone else does. So she speaks just a little bit differently. And I enjoy all of that. I just find that really enjoyable that she's not wholly one of us. Because in a lot of other comics, she's just one of the gals or whatever, and that's fine. I enjoy those all too, but I really am digging this here. It's the same with Absolute Wonder Woman. She, and that, more so because she's freshly come to the rest of America or whatever. But there's just an elevation of being just a little bit different than everything else that's there. And I enjoy all those aspects of it. I'm really curious to see what happens here. There's some great lines in this. She kind of violates a code that supposedly the Justice League has signed on to with where she's going. Curious to see what the blowout is from that. She has a great line to Batman around that I thought was really fun, but still just really, really enjoying this book. Curious to see how this stuff we've gotten in the last couple issues, how is it totally tied back to the other stuff, to the Sovereign stuff, because that story isn't done yet. We're still somewhat in the midst of that. I mean, she's dismantled a large portion of the Sovereign, but I don't feel like it's completely square yet. So yeah, 23 issues so far of this Wonder Woman, and I don't think it's really missed. Ooh, then we have The Blood Brothers Mother, issue number 4. This is the final issue of the story. And I really enjoyed it. This is an Eisner Award winning book. Just got announced yesterday that Eduardo Rizzo won for Best Painter or Painted Comic, I believe is the category they have now. So there are elements of this final issue that just seem to snap by really quickly. But it also ended very dark and very emotionally heavy. And I enjoyed all of that. It matched the book really well. I can be tough on endings. There are elements that it's like, what the hell? But Western romantically, and I don't use the word romantically as in love, but just kind of that style, it worked in this. Just the more noir, I guess. The way it all ended really well and very sad. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I like this issue probably the best out of all of the issues. Yeah, it had a heavy emotional tone to it, and everything seemed to work in this issue. So I quite enjoyed it. I would recommend if you're into westerns, if you're into rough westerns, I would recommend this book. It does not have a happy ending, though. Just put it that way. Next up, we have Phantom Road. Issue 14, we're getting the backstory. This is another issue of the backstory around Teresa's father. What did he have to go through that kind of set things kind of in motion? This repressed memories that Teresa had about some stuff that happened in her childhood. I'm quite enjoying this. Really hoping that when this is done, we get back to the current timeline and what is going on there. And I hope this whole thing can get to its end. I'm always nervous. I know a lot of people complain about this, but I'm always apprehensive of Jeff Lemire. He tends to really get into some stuff and then, I don't know, gets tired of it, gets bored of it. It gets a movie deal or a TV deal or something, I don't know what, and then it always feels like at some point he kind of bails. And when he bails, the ending of stuff is not satisfying in any way. It literally feels like, okay, I'm shutting it down. I almost rather the book just quit than do that, because it kind of makes it where I feel like I don't enjoy the whole thing. But I'm really enjoying this. The Gabriel Walta's art is super strong as always, masterfully colored by the, again this year, Eisner Award winning Jay Blair. Color the book. Just really interesting to see Dad is kind of dealing with the same stuff that our trucker and hitchhiker were dealing with the egg and that influence and what's going to happen next. I would expect that the next issue is probably the wrap up of this arc, just because of the tensions and where stuff is at. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And do we find out? I mean, clearly this in the past thing has given us much more information about the Billy Burger's truck stops and who owns that, and that whole influence there has been very rewarding and very fulfilling. But I'm also really curious about this is kind of informing potentially why Teresa's the way that she is, probably why she became FBI agent, how she got herself attached to what's going on now, and what's she going to do moving forward in comparison to what her father and the guy in the Hawaiian shirt have done. So, yeah, good stuff all around. Detective Comics, issue number what? We're at 1099. So the next issue is the 1100 issue. I'm sure it's going to be some big fancy anniversary sort of a thing with lots of creators in it and whatnot. I still continue to enjoy Tom Taylor's written Detective Comics. I think that Garbett does a great job of art on these issues. I'm assuming Janin will come back here in the next arc as we deal with this whole longevity thing, this crew of people that have been dabbling in and selling longevity to people to create this secret society to make a certain segment of them super rich and whatnot. No, it's been good. It's been enjoying. It's been an enjoyable Batman comics. Earth moving, no. Doesn't feel kind of like the epic thing that the Ram V Detective Comics thing was. This feels closer to our standard affair superhero adventure going on. And that's not a bad thing. I like the superhero genre. Obviously, I read a lot of it, but some of it gets tiring. This isn't tiring. It's been fun. And finally, this time around, we have Golden Rage, issue number 4. I believe, this is 4 of 5. This is the Mother Knows Best. Really have enjoyed this a lot. All women-driven book. Has to do with an island where once you hit menopause and become useless to society, i.e. not producing children and that sort of thing, they send you to this island to basically die or whatever, and they've got their own society there of sorts, and some crazy stuff has happened. In this whole arc, a baby shows up on the island. And so craziness ensues around that. We get some great looks at motherhood and some things like that, some other stressors, some thoughts about getting old, what that means, getting old with your friends and loved ones. There's a lot of really good stuff that goes on in this book, and I really enjoy this series a lot because of all of those things. I mean, there's this, the bigger element that's there, this island, and are people coming to wipe them out? Or are they going to wipe each other out? Or all of those things are really fun, get you to get the book in the first place. But then they smartly put all this real life thought into what's going on in the book, and I really, really enjoy that. Really curious to see how it ends with the next issue. I hope this thing kind of manages to continue to sell well enough and sells well enough in trades that if Chrissy Williams has any other thoughts about the book and Laura Knight doing the art on it, that they have the ability to do more stories if they have more stories to tell, because they put elements in each one of these arcs that could lead to the next whatever's going on. It's clearly a lot of thought into these characters and their existence, and they don't hold back on showing us those things without it slowing down what's going on. They don't give us all those elements. It's like, this is here. This is more about this character, more what's going on with this character. And, could be the, something else interesting about them because, people in general aren't two-dimensional. And so they have that in here, but it doesn't bog the story down of moving forward with the important parts that they want to talk about for this arc. Cool stuff. And that is it. That is it for this week. Hope to be back next week, and we'll talk some more books. Thanks for watching.